So Sabo versus Eam, the first time we've actually got to see Eam fight. In the story of One Piece, of course, we haven't got the official reveal of what his design truly is, or even if it's a dude at this point definitively, although there is evidence supporting that, as you see here. But there's a couple things that the anime shows that aren't in the manga, but it also made me reread the chapters and catch something I didn't notice before. So of course the stage is set with Cobra in front of the elders, talking about Nefertari D. Lily. Of course, Eam is prepared to kill Cobra, hits him with his arrow tail, which of course is confirmed to have been Eam using his power. Dropped him to the ground, then Sabo jumps in, off guards the Gorosei with Fire Fist. Now, with what we know about the Gorosei now, we can assume that they probably all took damage, maybe with the exception of Warcree, as they were all hit by it, but they just regen and then went into their Zoan transformations, assuming they're devil fruits, but you get the point. Especially with Sabo's dialogue after the fact, where he's like, oh, hell's at the top of the earth, the diabolical truth, yada yada. It seems that he was unsettled by their demonic transformations, and it seems that they probably just healed themselves, so that's why he basically has to throw out the idea of eliminating them all in one fell swoop. So it isn't just a situation where they tanked it, they just probably regen. In fairness to them though, of course, they are being caught off guard regardless, so I wouldn't even say it's a situation where they can't really react. But the important thing to note is that Sabo sends a second attack at Eam directly. Now, one could argue that maybe the attack did substantial enough damage to the Gorosei that they couldn't get in the way of this secondary attack. He got a free shot at Eam. But you could also say that maybe they know the power of Eam and know that he's not going to be in trouble. But I don't really think that that's in their character. So you could run with the narrative that the Gorosei, were incapacitated for enough time for Sabo to get the second attack off. Now, with this said, Eam actually completely overpowers this attack. It was made crystal clear in the anime, but in the manga, it's a super small panel. And I'm be honest, I didn't notice it when I first read it. I honestly thought that this was just a fire and an explosion took place. But you can actually see the eye of the demon and the mouth and in the silhouette and all this. He does eat the flame just the same way he did in the anime. Now, of course, characters can be faster than their range attacks. This is something like with Kizaru. So it could be the same case for Sabo potentially. But what's more impressive is the fact that Eam takes this from a bloodlusted Sabo that was intending on wiping them all out, killing them. Just witness Cobra get attacked. Obviously, he's breathing very hard, showing exertion, and Eam just eats it for breakfast, literally, and walks toward him in his Zoan form, clearly reacts to the attack as well. Now with this, you see that Sabo is able to pick up Cobra, start running away, and the Gorosei plus Eam, all in their monster forms, chase after him or are in pursuit, it seems. Now when this is going on, it's important to note that Cobra is exposition dumping on Sabo, explaining him the importance of getting this information to Luffy and Vivi, that they're both part of the D clan, which clearly catches Sabo by surprise. He has a flashback in his mind, so you could argue that he's off guard by this attack. Clearly is his focus is diverted to listening to what Cobra is telling him as well. But Eam is able to land this arrow attack on Sabo as Sabo was running away as well, and it goes through Cobra. Now this attack does massive amounts of damage to Sabo, so much so that from one attack like this, even after everything transpires, Sabo is in critical condition, even on his boat, collapsed to the ground, bleeding everywhere, does a ton of damage. Now it's also important to note that in the anime, Sabo evades the initial arrow attack, and then it comes back, kind of boomerangs back and hits him. In the manga, that didn't happen. He was just hit with the initial attack. So Sabo did not react to Eam in the manga. This whole situation, for plot reasons, you could probably chalk it up to that, really makes Sabo not look the best. It makes Cobra look crazy because Cobra had already taken one of these attacks prior. He takes the second attack, stands back up to his feet, and actually is the one that allows Sabo to escape because he prepares to take the third attack. So he takes two attacks, gets up before Sabo did, mind you, and then gets prepared to take the third attack from Eam, which inevitably kills him. Now the thing is, wouldn't even matter. I don't know why Eam can't just go around Cobra and then with the arrow especially and just get to Sabo if he wanted to, or why any of the other Gorosei can't go in pursuit of Sabo, especially given that they can just teleport. You're telling me all four of them can't rush towards Sabo in that moment? Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. And like I said, isn't the best look for Sabo, but of course it's what Oda did. At that point, you also have Nosturo clearly notice Wapol, as Wapol was peeping on them, and again, no pursuit to Wapol either. Now maybe you say that they just don't give a shit about him, but I feel like that's somebody they'd probably want to execute too. So a lot of incompetence from the Gorosei here, especially given that we saw the prowess of Nosturo's observation haki, where he was able to pinpoint the locations of all these pacifista across the whole island and wipe them out. Doesn't make a lot of sense that you can't pinpoint the person. It was just watching what they were doing and chase him down and finish him. And for that matter, even an injured Sabo at that point. And it gets even worse considering that Eam specifically wants Vivi, and Wapol goes and saves Vivi and still somehow escapes, especially like when Jabra, Khalifa, all these characters are in there too. They don't go in pursuit of Wapol seemingly either. He's able to evade all these Cypherpol agents, which is either a massive Wapol upscale or just incompetence and plot-induced stupidity. Another point I wanted to mention though is that a lot of people believe that Eam actually like destroyed this island, when it's made crystal clear to us that Eam is not in fact the one responsible for the destruction in terms of AP. It was an ancient weapon that was used and powered by the Mother Flame. So we got this in the exposition where Vegapunk went on his long rant where he explained that, hey, there's going to be an earthquake on his message after he died. Today, everybody in the world reacts to this. He knew it was coming because he supplied the power source for this ancient weapon, goes into a monologue about the ancient weapons destroying the world that once was. In the One Piece verse, they basically changed the landscape of the world, and the sea level is much higher than it used to be because these ancient weapons is a man-made thing. It's not Eam's power. Eam even talks about testing the power, testing Vegapunk's creation, which is the fuel source at this point. Vegapunk didn't create the weapon, which is confirmed he can't, but he created the fuel source, the energy needed to use the weapon. So Eam didn't destroy the island, for anybody that thinks he did. Now this said, with the things in hindsight, it makes Eam look much better. I think it's safe to say that like everybody assumes that Eam is going to be much stronger than the regular Gorosei members. Obviously we saw him no diff Saturn, but that's probably due to the fact that the Gorosei's power is probably tied to Eam. We don't have confirmation on any of these things. He was able to rip away the immortality with ease, and having the AP to severely wound Sabo with one attack is pretty impressive. Also, I think the most impressive thing was straight up overpowering the Rook check. No regen needed, although it's probably something that's fair to assume that Eam could regen like the other Gorosei as well. And also, quick note, the scene where Sabo was like gingerly walking in the forest after taking the attack was not in the manga. There was no situation where like a guard jumped at him or anything like this. We just simply see Sabo on the ship in critical condition after the attack, so wouldn't consider that canon. So I want to clear all that up. I think Eam is definitely solidifying himself to be a legit fighter. When the time comes, we'll have to wait and see. Nowhere to really accurately scale him as of yet in terms of against the highest tier of the verse, but in time we will find out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.